Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nana and here we talk about all things passive income, and I'm super excited to get started with today's topic. So we are going to talk about 4 creative ways to make passive income during a recession. So right now, everybody and their mama's talking. All signs kind of point to us possibly going into a recession if we're not in one already. So one of the best ways that you can actually prepare for a recession is to have a side hustle that is going to bring in additional income to your household every single month, possibly every single day if you can. And it's all the better if that side hustle is passive, right? Something that you can do while you still have your other job. It's a nice escape plan if you want to get out of your other job, but also it's a nice backup plan if during a recession something happens to that job. Or if you have a business or something like that, this is just another way for you to have income coming in. Or if you're just looking for a way to not have to work as actively, passive income is great for that. Let's talk about some of these creative strategies, but before we do that, let's see what Google defines as passive income. So when you Google passive income, it says that this type of income is one that is acquired automatically with minimal labor to earn, right? So minimal labor, I just want to point that out because it's not no effort, no labor. There is some effort put into passive income, especially initially, right? So you just want to keep in mind that when it comes to passive income, you're going to have to expend either money upfront, time upfront, or energy upfront, right? Or maybe all 3, depending on which one of these strategies or any strategy that you decide to use, okay? So keep that in mind. A lot of times people are like, passive income, I just set it up and boom, it's making money. That is true, you set it up, but a lot of people think you don't have to do anything to set it up, but you do. Let's get into it, okay? And I'm just looking at my notes. So the first thing that you can do is rent out something that you already own, right? So you're not going out and getting anything. This is something that you already own or have possession of. So this could be, a spare bedroom, a basement, anything that you have, like if you have space in your home, you can actually rent this out to people who are interested in looking for housing. Now, I know a lot of people have talked about this, but it's a really great way to make income passively, right? So you can do this by finding students who are interested in housing, or more of that traditional house hacking where you just get some roommates who are basically paying your rent or your mortgage for you. And you can do this by finding people on housing boards, on Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace. But then you can also do more of that short-term rental, right? So you can find people on Airbnb or VRBO or even Furnish Finder who are looking for a place to stay short-term for maybe like a couple months or something at a time. So this is what I actually did a couple years back when things were tight. It was actually coming out of the last recession, and I house hacked. So I would rent, but I did it on Airbnb, VRBO. It was big, but I didn't really use it back then. So I would rent my property, a room in my apartment, during the month. And I would make income that way. It was a great way for me to save money, to put away money, and to pay off bills and debt. And I liked doing it with Airbnb because I'm an introvert. So I didn't want someone in my space all day, 24/7, 365, right? So the benefit of doing it with a short-term rental platform like an Airbnb was that I could open my calendar for however long I wanted to host somebody. And if there was a weekend or a month or something like that where I just didn't feel like it, I wasn't feeling it, I could close my calendar and say, hey, I'm not accepting anyone during that time. And I like this too because sometimes with the roommate situation, if you get a bad roommate, you're pretty much for the most part stuck with them for like 12 months or however long that lease is. And it's not always the case with Airbnb or a short-term guest or a tenant, right? So that's just one idea to keep in mind. But another thing you do have to keep in mind when you are doing those shorter term guests or leases, there is a little bit more work, right? Because you've got more people coming, you've got more turnover, and all of that. So there are pros and cons to each, and you just have to weigh which one works best for you. And of course, this is not for everyone. Not everyone is going to be comfortable having other people in their home, and that's totally fine. You got to do what's best for you, but this is a great way to make some passive income, because once you have those people or that person in your property, you're making money technically every day, whether you're doing it long term or short. If you divide it by 30 days or however long, you're making money every day, and you really don't have to do much, if anything at all. I've had people stay when I was doing this at my property who I barely knew they were there, because they literally like woke up in the morning, went to work, came home, went to sleep. So it was like I was living by myself. So that is a great way to make another thing I want to mention. When it comes to a house or a room or something that you already own, if you've got a really cool looking place, a great way to make passive income is to also rent it out to people who are looking to do photo shoots or video shoots, and they're looking for something very unique or that just looks really good. And you can do that on sites like Peerspace, and there are so many others out there. And this is a great way to make income. And this is great also if you really don't want to do the overnight, having people stay in your property for a long time. A lot of time they're booking these photo shoots or video shoots for like a couple hours at a time. So you just got to bounce from your house during that time, lock up the things that you don't want them to have access to, make sure you have security and all that good stuff. But that's a great way to make some passive income as well. Now, another thing that you can rent, aside from your own place, could be stuff that you have laying around the house. So maybe you've got a spare bike, or a bike that you bought with great intentions that you don't use and you spent mad money on it. You can actually rent that out. There are people out there who maybe want a bike for the summer or for this particular weekend, but they're not interested in buying a high-end bike or any kind of bike for that matter for long term, right? They just want to rent it maybe for the month for like $50 or $75 or whatever the case may be. Or maybe they're doing like one of those, like I did a triathlon several years ago. And honestly, if I had thought about it, it would have been better for me to rent a bike for the triathlon, because the biking was my least favorite part. And so I literally only had the bike that I bought. I only used it for the period of training for the triathlon and the actual triathlon, where I did fall. I fell and I made the person behind me fall. But that's a whole long story. I fell at the end of 24 miles of biking. So I biked for 24 miles, made it, and then when I was trying to get off and dismount, I fell and the person behind me fell on top of me. So anyway, long story short, the point being, I could have just rented a bike and saved myself all the money I spent in buying a bike that I really only used for technically, let's say it was 3 months of training, or 3 months that I actually trained, and the day of the actual race, right? So that's another area where you could rent a bike to someone and make some money that way. This goes also for things like hardware tools, right? So if you've got really cool high-end or mid-end, it doesn't even matter what end, hardware tools that people would need maybe for a one-time project, right? So like a power saw or a staple gun, or what else do people use hardware-wise? Yeah, I have a list. Like a leaf blower, things like that, right? These tools that people aren't going to use every single day, and they don't really have a need to own them, especially like a saw or something like that, where they're literally doing like a one-time project. You can rent those tools out to people and make income that way. You literally find someone who's interested in having a tool like that, you give it to them. Of course, you verify, you make sure you take down the right information. There are actually sites out there that help you facilitate this, and then you're making money while your tool is out there being great, right? Another thing that you might own already that you can rent out is cars, right? So your car or your vehicle of any kind, you can rent it out on sites like Turo or get around and do a daily rate, just like the regular old rental car places do. And you can make passive income this way. And again, those sites help you facilitate all of this so that you don't have to do like all the upfront work of verifying who's actually renting your vehicle, but these sites allow you to do that. And it's a great way to make passive income if you have a spare car, or in this day and age, if you work from home most of the time and you're not using your vehicle, if you're comfortable with it, you can rent that car out on these websites and make great passive income. So the next thing that you can actually rent is old tech. So maybe you've got a spare phone or computer, laptop, desktop, or even a tablet, and people want to use it for whatever reason. Maybe they don't have access to it, or they need a specific type of phone or something like that. You can find people on sites like Facebook Marketplace, etc., who are looking for those things and you want to rent them out. You can also do the flip game, but that's not as passive. And what I mean by that is maybe you find these low cost old technology, old phones, or gently used laptops, desktops, things like that, and then you resell them. But that's not as passive unless you have like maybe a team or assistant or something like that doing it for you, but that's just another bonus idea. So number 2 is going to be getting passive income through high yield dividend paying ETFs or stocks. So these are investments that actually pay you money just for holding them, and they pay on a pretty consistent regular basis. So either monthly, quarterly, or annually. And you can find stocks and ETFs. My favorites are from Vanguard, but of course you want to make sure you do your due diligence. So with these, the more money you invest, of course, the more money you will make back. But you can still start small and increase over time. So for instance, let's say you happen to have an extra $50,000 laying around and you pick a high yield ETF like that gives off around 7% interest or dividend, right? So at $50,000, that's going to be $3,500 a year that you're making back in dividends. And that equates to $291 a month, which is nothing to sneeze at, right? That is passive income that's coming back to you just for owning that investment. Now, let's say you had $10,000 and you were getting 7% yield or dividend return. That is going to be $700 annually or $35 a month, which is still passive income. So again, the more you invest, the more you're going to get back, but you can grow this over time. One of the cool things about this is that it's really easy to get up and running and set up, and is very much hands-free and passive. So once you can get started by just opening up a brokerage account, and you can do this on your phone or your laptop or desktop. Add some money and then actually buy the investments, and make sure you actually buy the investments, because there are so many people out there who open up brokerage accounts, investments accounts, put money in it, and they assume that they have actually made an investment when they haven't. You actually have to then select your ETF or your stock or whatever it is that you're doing. So make sure you do that. All right. And then once you've got that set up, you can do this automatically, have the transfers deposited to that investment account, however you want to do it. But once you own those high yield dividend stocks, they're going to pay you, depending on the interest rate, every month or quarter or year, depending on the actual stock. This is awesome because it's a lot faster than a lot of other ways of making passive income. For example, it's faster than, say, buying real estate. And I love real estate, but it does take time, right? You're going to have to put down, say, 20%, and then you've got to actually find tenants, manage those tenants, make sure your tenants aren't banana pants. And so just to make maybe $200, $300, $500 a month. Of course, there are different ways that you can make more, but I'm just giving you some examples. So this is a great way to make passive income. So number 3 is creating online digital products. Now, this is one of my favorite ways of making passive income, but the upfront work is, of course, that you actually have to create the digital product. But this is where you take something that you know, that you love and have experience in, knowledge in, and you package it into, say, an ebook or a workshop or an online course. And then you begin to sell it on maybe your social media or your email list, and you grow that email list or social media, and you continue to sell that digital product every single day. So the ongoing work for this is not having to recreate the product, but making sure that you've got marketing out that is selling the product. And to make it as passive as possible, you can do this with ads, whether that's Facebook ads, YouTube ads, whatever the case may be. But you can also do this with just organic traffic, which isn't as passive, but is a great way to sell that digital product on a consistent, regular basis. And again, once you have created the product, that is most of the heavy lifting right there. So I love this method because you're just taking something that you already know and you already have a passion for, and creating an asset for yourself that you can sell over and over again and bring in passive income every day or every month. The 4th and final one for this video is going to be what I like to call side hustle arbitrage. You're like, what in the world does that mean? Okay, so this is when you take an idea and maybe you create a service. Maybe you create something like a dog walking service, right? And you go out and you find 5 people with dogs that are willing to pay you $30 for you to walk their dogs. Now, I know you're thinking, this does not sound passive. This sounds active as hell. I gotta walk these dogs. But here's the catch. You are going to then, so they're gonna give you $30 for those 5 dogs, so that's $150. You are then going to find someone that you are going to pay $50 for the day to walk these 5 dogs. So maybe this is like a teenager in your life, or a not so young kid who you're willing to trust with walking dogs, or maybe just someone who is interested in doing this for $50 for the day. So they make $50, you get to keep $100 rather. So they make $50, you get to keep $100, and this is a passive source of income. The only thing you had to do up front was actually find the clients, and there are various ways that you can do that, right? So this is what arbitrage means, right? You're leveraging your resources and finding other people to do the active part of the work. The same goes for something like affiliate marketing, right? So I love affiliate marketing. This could be something like finding a course or ebook that you love and you stand by, and you then start to share it with your audience, refer it to your friends, and you make a commission every time that ebook or thing is sold. And this is what a lot of people do with Amazon. So you can become an Amazon seller and you just talk about the products that you love. First of all, you'll set up an account, and then you'll choose the products that you're really interested in, that you've used, that you love, and you refer it to people. And again, every time they purchase, you make a commission. And you didn't have to go out and build that product. You didn't have to create it or any of that stuff. So this is a great way of making passive income using affiliate marketing to really just share other people's products. All right, guys, so that is it. Those are 4 creative ways that you can make passive income during a recession. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys create. If you've got any great ideas other than the ones that I talked about, go ahead and share them in the comments below so that we can all learn and grow together. And if you like this video, please do share, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.